Can ChatGPT trade? Part 3. Now, this is arguably the most important question ever in trading because, if AI can analyze the markets better than us, we're kind of screwed, right? As retail traders. So yeah, it's pretty important, but let's dive into the performance and everything so far. And what I'm going to talk about in this video is the changes to the prompt that I've made, the latest results, and my thoughts on the performance so far. Can ChatGPT destroy retail trading? Let's see. So basically, the first thing I want to talk about is the changes to the prompt. So let's head over to ChatGPT and let's get into it. So basically, I'm essentially using the exact same prompt, but I've made some minor changes. So what I'm now doing is I'm sending the prompt into with a space in between it, right? So first off, I'm going to show you previous trade results. Basically, I want you to analyze them and generate ways you can improve, right? So I tell it to the most recent trades plus all of the previous other trades that are already in the chat. It comes up with some ideas of how it can improve, and then I give it the prompt on what I want it to do now in analyzing the live markets. So I've already been through this, so you can just pause the video and read it if you want to. But basically the prompt, I've sent the prompt, I send in the charts, 5 minute and 1 hour of Bitcoin, gold, GBP, JPY, and it gives me the trade ideas, as I'm sure you already know. So it generates the trade ideas and I simply just place the orders and we see what happens. So that is the minor change to the prompt. Basically, it's basically nothing other than I've separated it because I found that ChatGPT was getting a little bit confused when I had it all as one. When I would send in the charts for analysis to kind of improve its trading ideas, it would get confused and think that's live market data, which is an understandable confusion, but yeah, it just kind of, I suppose, identifies one of the weaknesses of ChatGPT, right? It doesn't quite fully grasp what I'm giving. Like if I told that to a human, they would pretty much know what I'm saying. I'd say analyze these charts and learn from them. And then, but when I say that ChatGPT, it gets a little bit flustered. So you have to do it separately, I have found, unless there's a better way to prompt it, which is of course something I'm very interested in. I'm constantly trying to improve the prompt because as we'll get into the end, that is key. The prompt is key. So that is the change to the prompt. Let's get into the latest results. And I'm going to head over to my Twitter account over here because this is where I share all of the daily updates. So it's just well presented. And you can see here, we're at day 12 of the ChatGPT challenge. And as you can see here, I just said, send your prayers to ChatGPT because guys, we're on a 9 trade losing streak. 9 trade losing streak, which is bad. I've actually, in my trading, I've never experienced a 9 trade losing streak. I think the maximum I've experienced is 6 or 7. So that's kind of telling you something. And it's not telling you something good. So we had 3 losses. This was the other day. We had 3 losses, minus 3% on that day. And as of 33 trades, we have had 9 wins and 24 losses. That is a 27% win rate. That's very, very low. Now, again, it is only a 33 trade sample size, so it's not really enough, but it's pretty bad so far. In fact, it's so bad, it's almost good. And what I mean by that is, as you can see, a lot of people are saying in the comments, maybe if you trade the opposite, it's almost so bad that I think if you trade the opposite of what ChatGPT is saying, you probably have a pretty good strategy, which is kind of crazy to say, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. It's too early to really fully determine that, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting right now. And you can kind of see basically right here, 33 trades, as I said, 27.3% win rate, and we're down 8% on the account. 8% after 33 trades is very, very bad, considering it's only 1% fixed percentage trade per trade. That's very, very bad. And you can basically see, these are the last 3 trades. A loss on Bitcoin. Again, the 1 hour chart suggesting potential bottom formation with a recent support holding. The 5 minute chart shows a minor consolidation indicating possible bounce. Again, this analysis was terrible. because you can clearly see that the five minute, okay, you could argue maybe, I wouldn't even argue consolidation. It's clearly in a downtrend. So I'm very confused at this trade. I think the reasoning is pretty bad and it's a terrible trade. You know, you're trying to fight the market. Never a good idea. Just a terrible trade from ChatGPT. Then this is another trade, the 1 hour indicating a downtrend with lower highs and lower lows. The 5 minute chart is showing a retracement to resistance. And okay, I think that's a bit more of a reasonable analysis. I think it's a bit more reasonable. But again, we're fighting the most recent price action, the most recent market structure in the 5 minute, which isn't a great idea. So that was another loss. And then here is the most recent loss on GBP JPY. The 1 hour chart shows a strong uptrend with higher highs and higher lows. The 5 minute chart confirms a recent pullback to support, indicating a continuation of the upward move. So I think that reasoning is relatively logical. The 5 minute chart confirms a recent pullback to support. So it is a relatively logical reasoning. And that's what I've seen across most of the trades. The reasoning is pretty logical and pretty good. I don't see many trades. Some trades are kind of bad, but generally the reasoning is bad. The reasoning is good, sorry. But this trade was just a loss. As simple as that. It wasn't a bad trade idea, but it was just a loss. And that brings us to, as I said, a 9 trade losing streak. And you can see here's the 9 trade losing streak. As you can see, it's done a lot of damage to the account. So the one thing I will say about the results is that we are what was I going to say? We are basically, oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. Sorry guys. We are targeting quite high risk to rewards with these trades. So you can see here with these trades, they tend to be a 1 to 3, a 1 to 4 at times. So with that, you know, a couple wins and you can be back in play, right? If you get a 1 or 2 1 to 3s, you know, you're back up 6%, you know, you're back in play. But overall, obviously, yeah, pretty bad results. So let's get on to the next point. Thoughts on the performance so far. Yeah, I think you can guess what the thoughts are. They're pretty bad. They're pretty bad results so far. As I said in the previous video, the reasoning and logic of a lot of the trades is pretty good, but it's just not really coming together. And I think the interesting thing for me is I've updated the prompt, I believe it was last week, for ChatGPT to re-engineer its trades. So I would feed ChatGPT back its old trades and hopefully it would improve and learn from its old trades, its losses, its wins, and it would learn what to do. It hasn't really been improving the trades, I've noticed. You would have assumed it would kind of improve certain things, but I've noticed the same problems are occurring. And that's a problem. That's a problem because my overall thoughts are really that you need to hold ChatGPT's hand so closely. The prompt needs to be really, really good. And you really need to give a lot of input to get anything good, which means, is it even worth it? Because you might as well just trade yourself. And that's kind of the vibe I'm getting at the moment is you're going to need to hold its hand so closely that you're basically just doing everything. And therefore it's kind of meaningless. So purely as can it just trade by itself? So far, my verdict is pretty much no, not really. It's a little bit too early to say. But so far my verdict is kind of no, because yeah, some of the trade ideas have just been so terrible and it's not really learning very well. So that's kind of my analysis overall on the performance. But there's a few things to add because it's not all bad. It's not all bad at all. As I said, a lot of the reasoning of the trades is pretty good. Its analysis tends to be accurate. And I really think if you prompt it well, this could be a fantastic way to trade. If you prompt it really well and you really work on the prompt and you input your own strategies, your own ideas, and you really create a fantastic prompt, I think you can get ChatGPT to do a lot of analysis for you, and it will do it very efficiently, very fast. And if you do that, you could definitely get ChatGPT to be generating profitable trade ideas. But it's all about the prompt and it's all about you giving the right inputs. That's what it's going to all be about. So that basically concludes it. As you can see, the results so far have not been great, but let's not be too quick to judge. Let's continue to truck on. Let's wait till we get to 100 trades to really conclude anything of value. And hopefully ChatGPT can continue to re-engineer and actually learn and maybe prove us wrong. Maybe prove me wrong, maybe prove you guys wrong. But let's see. Thanks for watching.